start stream, so maybe you have to do something on your end, I don't know, but we should be live.
Yeah, it should be public. It said, oh, it says receiving content. It's working. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Can you see,
The internet
can you
yeah,
see,
it says the internet can totally see you now. Let me check the audio on the stream.
I'm probably gonna need to turn this audio off.
Yeah, I'm just watching the delay here. The delay is a bit there's a bit much of it, but it's because you're in like literally another country, so it is to be expected.
This is true,
I'm
I am
trying
in
to
another country.
I'm trying to gauge how your audio sounds.
Test, test, it's me making audio, having audio noises.
I don't think I can hear you in the stream.
You can't hear me in the
Oh
stream?
wait, no, you're way quieter than me,
Oh shit,
I think.
okay, let me turn my sound up. I also need to turn
Yeah,
this sound on because I need to hear audio cues, but just on
yeah.
the lowest possible setting. There you go, that should be low enough, right? How do I turn my sound up? I guess I'll just do it in OBS. Test, test,
Yeah.
test, test, test. There you go. I'll just equal them out. That should work. Can you hear me now?
Okay,
Oh god, this has gone terribly wrong.
yeah, that sounds better.
Okay, sick. Are people watching? You're gonna have to be in charge of reading the chat because it is your stream.
Yeah, yeah. There's only one person watching right now. I have no idea.
Is it
I have no idea.
Jalen?
It's probably Jalen, but he would have posted by now. That's the thing.
Oh, that's true.
It's so weird for me because Jalen shows up at the beginning of every live stream I do, and then he leaves like as soon as like he'll ask a question, and then I'll start to answer it, and then he'll just leave. And it's very funny.
It is rather amusing. Do love our boy Jalen. He's what a lad.
Yeah, he's a very good lad. I gotta say, if lads were to be scaled on goodness, he would certainly be at the top. But yeah, well, oh hey, DZ Dog is in the chat. Frequent viewer of the stream, but I also go on his channel. But yeah, so how have you been doing, Noah? It's been a while since we've talked. How's everything been going on your end?
I've been, you know, living, dying. Combination of living and dying.
I mean, the more that you live, the more that you die.
This is true. I mean, I can't disprove that. How have you been doing, Infinite Star Lore?
I have become a human content machine, essentially.
I've noticed.
I've just been making constant YouTube videos where I feel like at this point my life is just a YouTube video where like I'll do these like 3-hour live streams like every day and then I'll release like 5 videos in a day and I keep having ideas for them. That's the thing, is that like I have like 50 more ideas and stuff that I want to talk about, but I never get to those because randomly in the day I'll come up with something else that I'll want to record like immediately. And so it feels like just an endless cycle of more and more content constantly building up on itself.
This is an incredibly good run, which is unusual for me, so I'm getting distracted by my unusual prowess. I mean, it's not good enough because I didn't get the skip, so... But
Yeah,
anyway.
from the very delayed footage of the game that I'm getting on the feed here, it does look quite a bit better. But yeah, that's basically been my life, is that I've just been constantly making YouTube videos. Like, my life itself is a YouTube video now.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of your YouTube videos. I've seen a couple of them.
Hell yeah. I have not watched the last like couple that you put out. I watched the beat video that you did. It was, yeah, N0THANKY0U make a beat in 1 minute, and I thought that was funny. but I haven't looked at the other ones that you posted. Like, one of them was like a critique of a movie, and I was like, I don't know if I have time to watch a critique of a movie today.
It was just as a critique of a song.
Oh, okay. My memory was terrible.
This is true.
The other thing that I've been getting up to is on your recommendation, I started taking the lion's mane, and I've been noticing more and more effects as days go by. I have no idea if it's a placebo, but like I feel like actually like psychologically different taking it. Where like I have to combine it with moving around more and just like doing more positive activities throughout the day, like making more videos and stuff. But it feels like a snowball effect, like it's all combining onto one another, and taking them, like, I've noticed my memory has been genuinely better, which was honestly kind of incredible, because I did not expect that to happen at all, and I've noticed my mood has improved slightly in certain ways, and I thought that was kind of incredible, because I didn't think it was actually going to do anything. But it feels like as each day has progressed, it's progressively gotten better, or maybe it's like doing the thing in my system more over time or something.
That's good. I'm glad to hear it. I don't think it's been having that much of an effect on me, but you know, it affects everyone differently. And I've got more hopefully arriving in the mail from Russia if it isn't a scam.
Oh, did you end up doing that Root Pharma thing?
I did. I mean, I didn't.
Yeah,
I would never participate in any illegal activities involving cryptocurrencies.
Yes, of course. Well, did they not send you the cryptocurrencies illegally?
Yes, they did. I did not send them any cryptocurrencies, and they did not send me. Allegedly send me. Who knows if it's ever going to get there? I don't even know if this website's a scam or not. But
I mean, the email that they sent me is that it said that I have to buy it myself first, and then they'll send me the Bitcoins after I make a video about their products, and I'm like...
that makes sense, though. Because, like, otherwise you could be scamming them.
Like, for me, it's a pass, though, because, like, I can't get the medicines for free. I have to buy them myself. Like, it sort of feels weird to me, where, like, I don't want to lose that money, potentially, just so I can maybe possibly get Bitcoins from some kind of pyramid scheme-looking thing, you know?
I mean, that is the most cyberpunk way to do it, is to get weird Bitcoins from a pyramid scheme thing.
I mean, that is true, but I want to spend my money on other stuff. I might actually buy I mean, I could just buy Finnerbot from other places, though. That's the thing. Like, so I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe I can buy it from this website, but, like, that website is, like, the least reliable thing.
Is it?
That, like, I mean, it's not the least reliable, but, like, there seem to be...
It's been so long since...
There seem to be less noted cases of it being successful with people, you know? It's like a very obscure site.
Is it? From my I got recommended it by Reddit, of all places. You would expect to know about this stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I will take the risk on it. It depends. I have to withdraw my ad money from YouTube because I haven't done that yet. I could. One of these days I have to withdraw my ad money.
Yes, please do this. Oh no, this has gone terribly wrong. God, it's been so long since I ran this game.
I remember making $5 off YouTube back when I was still monetized. Yeah, I've made like a surprising amount of money. Like, I've went above the $100 threshold at this point. Which I did not expect. A lot of it, well, okay, I can't say that on the stream. See, he knows what I'm talking about.
I don't think I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't think you know what I'm allegedly talking about either.
You're allegedly talking about. Some may say he said words, but others may deny it.
Yes, some of the witnesses of this event may claim that I've spoken words. But, yeah, like, I want to withdraw the YouTube money sometime soon. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it though. That's the thing. Is that I feel like it's just kind of money to have. Like I don't have any idea of what I'm gonna do with it. Maybe I can give it to patreon.com/NOTHANKYOU.
I don't think you should do that. It seems like a waste.
That doesn't... Wait, what do I say? Oh no! I caught myself in a fish trap.
you fell for my trap card.
Yes. The friendship with Star ended.
Oh yeah, if you're wondering why I'm doing this section, if you're watching the stream as an innocent person who doesn't even know what this game is, and you're wondering why I'm doing this section over and over again, it's because I'm going to do a damage boost in a second, and I need at least 70 armor, or 75 armor to make it. Ooh, I don't know if that's going to be enough. So I have to keep redoing this section until I make it through without taking any damage, which is because the Mac version of this game has a bug where it switches difficulties. Like, this should be really easy. On Windows you can do this really easily, but on oh fuck, he shot me at the end. Yeah, on Windows you can do this really easily, but on Mac, because the games run on the easy difficulty, for reasons like this, I hate this fucking section so much.
Yeah, I don't know how being on Mac makes a difference.
There's a bug. Basically, there's a bug that the difficulty sometimes resets when you go through a loading zone, and this is one of those cases. So right now, even though the game will tell me I'm playing in easy, I'm actually playing in hard or normal. I don't know. Like in easy, I wouldn't be taking this much damage in this section.
Makes sense.
There you go. That was good.
Yeah, I don't like using Windows for anything, even though I know a lot of games are just gonna run better on Windows. That's what they were made to do. But I would rather spend hours trying to find a weird exploit to get a game to work on Linux than
something's gone wrong
actually
here.
use Windows, to be honest.
Where's my
The
grenades? Oh, I don't have
The
grenades.
problem, I think, for me, the fact that, like, we continually tried to get Sony Vegas to work in Wine, and it just hasn't worked. So, I don't know what to do about that. It feels like I've kind of entered a rock and a hard place.
Just use Caden Live, bro.
I mean, I have been using Caden Live. That's the thing, is that, like, I either will use Caden Live or OpenShot, where OpenShot is a pretty bad editor, but if you just want to put an image on the screen, then I tend to use that one for like quick things, because Caden Live takes up a lot of the resources on my computer and it goes really slow. So more often than not, I end up just shooting one take from my phone, or if it's something really simple, using OpenShot. But honestly, I feel like I might just dual boot on my desktop PC to make it to where I can use Sony Vegas for like literally the only thing I would do with Windows is use Sony Vegas, because I want to put more of the weird colors on the videos, to be honest.
I feel like weird colors are a cop-out.
I mean,
I don't know if you've noticed that I stopped doing that, but I feel like it's a substitute for not having good framing to make your frame interesting.
I think if you use the coloring in an interesting way, it can be nice. But if it just looks like the same as every other video, that kind of defeats the point. I've been talking a lot about framing in videos recently, because framing has been something that continually frustrated me, because I don't have like a Gorilla Pod or like something like that to where, you know, I can just string the camera up on pretty much any surface. And I don't even have that many surfaces to put it on in the first place, because my room doesn't have a lot of furniture and it's kind of small. So I've been trying to figure out how to have like more creative ways of framing videos. In the house that I grew up in, the room that I grew up in, the room was a lot bigger, and so I had way more places that I could frame vlogs. The problem at that time, though, was that I was using a literal camera, not like a phone, and all of the tripods I had were absolutely garbage or just broken. so I never really ended up getting to do anything creative with that setup. But like all of the different houses that I've lived in, I've always had a lack of technology or a lack of space. And those two things have always been the things that are barring me from doing something that I really, really would want to do. I've tried to find creative ways around it, but it's just hard. Like it's just hard to frame a shot when you don't have the necessary material and place, you know?
Yeah, I feel you. I have the same problem. Oh shit, I'm almost out of vape liquid. I might have to go outside tomorrow and actually buy some more. This is terrible.
DC Dog in the chat.
Tahendane.
Yeah.
You're still
DC
learning
Dog in the
Japanese.
chat. Oh, you are still learning Japanese?
Are you?
I am still learning Japanese. I need to practice today actually because I haven't practiced today. But yeah, I wonder if FF11 on Linux. I could look that up right now. Let me see here. Final Fantasy 11 Linux. It probably does. I remember looking it up and seeing something like that it worked on there. I think it works anyway. That would be another game that I would want to. My computer probably will. But yeah, like, and I was thinking about it, and what was I thinking about? I actually forgot. Oh no. Oh yeah, framing. Okay. So yeah, like that's always been the continual issue with me is wanting to frame things in certain ways because like for me, I want the vlog not to just be in one take. Like with certain videos, just having them in one take is fine, but there are certain ideas where I want to like start a sentence, for example, and then finish the sentence in another cut. You know,
Yeah.
and just utilize framing that way because I think it's really cool.
I can feel that. I can relate to that meme. That's a pretty relatable meme. Oh god, what am I doing? God, I hate video games. I'm not sure if you know this, but I'm quite bad at video games.
Oh yeah, no, I'm quite good at video games, so I can definitely tell.
Hey, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I wonder where that could come from. But yeah, like I wanna get one of those motorized skateboards that Casey Neistat has.
So do I, but they're
think
like so expensive.
Yeah, I haven't checked in a while, but I remember them costing a lot of money. I'm gonna Google that motorized skateboard. You know one thing that I thought was kind of funny was I went on the N0THANKY0U subreddit today, and I saw my video about how I don't want to drive there, and I thought it was so funny because all of the people in the comments were saying, this guy doesn't want to be free, what about my freedom, man? And I was just like, these people are the most spooked people I have ever seen. Oh my god.
It's beautiful,
like,
really.
I was just thinking about it because every single place I could possibly want to go, I could go by walking, by bike, or by public transit. One of those three. I wouldn't need a car to do that. And like, so what is the point of spending all of the time learning to drive and then spending the money on a car, whether it be a rental for a little bit or like an actual car? What's the point of doing that when I'm not gonna use it in a practical way where like it would be objectively measured just by numbers? Like if you just look at the numbers alone, it would cost less to take public transit or to go by some other method, which would be better for me because I would have more money in my pocket. Like I was just thinking about this and I was like, do they know that time is money? And that doing these things don't just come out of thin air, that you have to like put cash into operating and owning a vehicle, you have to put cash into the time that you would take to train to have a vehicle. The time that I could be taking to learn to drive, I could be producing more videos, which give me ad revenue and more potential patrons, which my Patreon's gone up, so I know it's doing that. And like, I could spend you know, my time studying for a job that I want to do, or applying for a job that I want to do. Like, there's so many other things that the
Oh,
idea
I
of putting
forgot.
getting a driver's license up on the top of the, you know, the list of needs just for the sake of having my freedom that I'm not even going to use in a interesting or creative way or at all. Like, why does it matter so much? I don't understand this weird jingoistic idea of like, gotta have freedom, man, because buying stuff makes you free. It's so weird to me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
DZD in the chat says, I hate driving. I330 says, pee pee poo poo. Very, we've got some, you know, we've got a very diverse chat right here.
Hell yeah.
Autism gang represent.
I'm gonna make this jump one day.
Both of them in the chat are actually autistic. Now I was thinking about that joke I made, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah. But yeah, like, it seems odd to me. It seems really odd to me that, like, people are so obsessed with this. Like, you're free. You're free if you can just do the stuff that you want. Like, that's how I would define freedom. It's that you're living a life that you want to live on your own terms, and you can become at least relatively self-sufficient doing whatever you want. Like, that to me is freedom, which is what I described wanting to do in that video. So, how am I all of a sudden more free by being shackled into debt and being shackled into wasted time to own and operate a vehicle that I'm not even going to use to do anything with? Like, it's maddening to me. It makes no sense. And like, you know, I might read some of these comments because the guys ended up just coming off as really weird and pathetic. I mean, that's generally the case with most people in the NEET subreddit, to be honest.
I think that's generally the case with most people, full stop.
Yeah, that's that's true.
Come on. Ah, fuck.
Okay, so this guy says to be able to drive is to have freedom. If you feel like getting out of town, that's where driving comes in handy. You don't know freedom until you've driven on an open road in the deserts of Las Vegas or along PCH in California or through the winding roads of the Rocky Mountains. Believe me.
That's pretty cringe, bro. I'm not gonna fucking lie.
It is really cringy. And the first thing is, I haven't been to California, but I've been to all of these other places that he's describing. Not interesting to me in the slightest, and even if I was interested in them, why not just walk? You have 2 legs. You can defend your legs. No one's gonna take them away from you. You can walk somewhere. Is that not being free right there?
I really suck at this game. I don't know what's wrong with me today. Well, I know what's wrong with me today. I haven't tried to run this game in months. I just trying to...
sorry, go ahead.
I'm just trying to make excuses to the people on your fine channel of why I'm so bad.
Yeah. This guy responded to him saying, not driving is some kind of subhuman type of retardation.
We did it, boys. We did it.
Completely
Look at me being outbound.
But we did it, Reddit. Apparently not wanting to be shackled onto debt for owning a car. Apparently not wanting to waste getting a license for something you're not going to use. It's subhuman retardation. I mean, trains, they exist for no reason, apparently. There's no reason for trains to exist, no reason for Ubers to exist. We're all just made to buy as many cars as possible to fill the pockets of polluting companies.
Didn't you know this? Of course cars are the best method of transportation. Don't question it, Goyim. Okay, I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, don't question anything. Just fall in line. Don't do anything that disrupts the system. Just don't question anything. Please don't. It's human nature to want to drive because Freud said so or something. Just don't question it. Just keep doing it. It's human nature. Keep doing it. Buy more products, despite the fact that for thousands of years we've never had cars. But it's human nature. Just buy more of them. I
Bro,
mean, that's seriously.
car. There is literally okay. There is no reason to own a car. If especially if you believe in morality, there's no reason to own a car.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I don't really believe in this like weird jingoistic type of morality that these guys have going on, or really the vast majority, if not all people, have going on. But like, you know, if you are supposed to be a quote unquote moral person, then I feel like it's better to not contribute to the overall, pollution problem, or like contribute to the potential of like being in a car crash or something by accident. Like, if you can get somewhere without using it, then just don't use it.
The
Like,
same people that will tell you don't do drugs because they're dangerous will also drive everywhere.
yeah, no, exactly.
I wonder which
Like,
one causes more deaths.
yeah, no, exactly. Like, the amount of people who die as a result of certain drugs that are considered to be taboo and terrible, like say marijuana, for instance, or even just alcohol, it's like
I mean
car
heroin
deaths.
as well.
Yeah, car deaths cause more deaths annually than those things. So, like, apparently, I'm not allowed to make a personal choice with my own body. I'm not allowed to have bodily autonomy because, it's just not allowed. You just can't question it. You just fall in line, don't question it, but buy more cars. That's really good for your freedom. You want
Yes.
bodily autonomy? Just do what we say. Like, it's crazy to me the amount of jingoism that these people have going on. DZ Dog says you don't believe in anything, Star. I wouldn't say that. I would say there are certain things that I believe in, but there's also a lot of things that I don't believe in. So I don't really know how to respond to that because, like, I feel like in videos I've kind of explained what I do believe, so I guess just watch those. I have talked a lot about what I don't believe, so I think maybe because like I criticize so many things or talk about what I don't believe, it can kind of give that impression sometimes. Oh, he's joking. Okay. I was so confused. It was a very like monotone type of joke, I guess, in the way it was framed.
Alright.
Also, there's a lot of climate deniers in this Reddit thread, which I mean is fine, but it's a little bit strange that there's this many in this thread.
I don't deny climate change, I just think it's a good thing, actually.
Yeah, climate change is a good thing, actually. The ultimate no thank you video.
Only real ones remember.
I don't think it's as severe. I don't think it's as severe as people are presenting it.
Do you know that did you know that the Antarctic is on fire right now?
I do know that.
But it's literally on fire. How funny is that?
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of people who aren't presenting it as being severe enough, and then there's a lot of people who are presenting it too severe. And so that sounds like a really sensuous point, but I'm gonna explain. It's that, like, the really big, like, catastrophism, like, the insane levels of catastrophism that certain people have, I feel like is a bit too much. Like, the people who are... I feel like we should just go based on what we can observe. And, like, that is something that we can observe. So, like, I feel like that should be the basis of people's argument going forward, But, like, if you can observe that and you approve of it, then, like, I can't really argue with that. Because it's like, okay, there's just a different moral preference there, DZD says, I'm always monotone. That is true. Oh my goodness, I'm looking at these skateboards, these electric skateboards, and like, they're so expensive. Wow.
They are ridiculously
really
expensive.
A lot.
If you really want to be a cyberpunk, you'd make your own.
I mean, I'm sure that's possible, but that would take a lot of time.
It wouldn't take a lot of time. Well, it would take a lot of time to learn the necessary skills. God, I hate this fucking level so much.
it costs so much money for these things. Like, the amount of time I would have to spend saving just to get a view, while not even living in like a cool place. Like in the UK or in London, I feel like these are pretty cool. You can
Yeah.
just zip around and be like, oh hey, there's like a Muslim blowing someone up today.
Wow. That was just unnecessary. No, like, why would you even... That was so unnecessary.
Listen, man, I call them like I see them. Alright? I got into a debate today with a really racist guy,
Oops, didn't mean to do
basically
that.
arguing that Africans are intrinsically retarded, and that the reason their countries have never been lifted up out of poverty is because they're too stupid to do it.
Wait, which side of the argument were you on?
I was on the side of the argument saying that people have the potential to do good if you give them proper conditions and education and stuff. But I also said that genetic disadvantages do exist, they're just not tied to race, is basically what my argument was. But, yeah, so I had a really weird argument with this guy, but the funny thing is that he was from Sweden, and
Yeah.
he was trying to argue that national health care shouldn't exist because immigrants will use it, and he believed that you should get rid of all social welfare programs because immigrants are going to come into the country to steal them, and so not having any would be better. I don't know why just making immigration stricter wouldn't be an easier way to do things. But according to him, no, there'll be too many refugees, which is basically a non-argument, which is what I told him. But he had a very hard time understanding that, because he was just talking in very, like, Chan-centric language, even though he was completely serious. He was just talking in this weird pseudo-ironic way, with, like, I was giving actual sources and, like, explaining my points. And he was just like going her, you know, inward bad and this type of thing. And it's like, I basically decimated him because he made no argument. But it was very fun because, like, this guy, like, it feels like he had been on pole for so long that his mind just was stayed there. It just never left pole.
I know some guys like that. Why are these guys not dying? Question. Why am I so bad at this video game?
I heard a lot of Middle Easterners are inbred. Not sure how true that is. Some of them are, but it's not all of them. Like, there is inbreeding in some Middle Eastern countries, but not all of them. Like, there's a lot of very weird, peculiar stuff that happen in places with more like the Taliban and Al-Qaeda and stuff. Like, areas that are controlled by those guys are going to have a lot of weird stuff going on. I mean, Saudi Arabia, there's a lot of just very peculiar, let's say, stuff going on over there in the marital and sexual sense. So, you know, it definitely does happen, but it isn't extremely commonplace. From what I know, I could be wrong, but I remember people making that argument in the past, and there being data to go against it. So I might need to find that. But yeah, when are me and N0THANKYO going to make vlogs in the Middle East? That would be cool. Let's do a Syria vlog.
Let's do a Syria vlog.
Yes, a Syria vlog. It's a great idea. We could join Rojava.
Oh hell yeah.
I like how on the Rojava website they just use pretty Arab women to advertise their revolution. It's very funny.
But no, they use pretty. The reason they show Arab women is because they're the only people in that area that allow women to fight.
Well, I mean, but they present them in a really sexualized way, though.
Are you sure? They're all fucking wearing hijabs. What are you talking about?
Let me find the website, because I remember seeing on the website they presented the women in a really sexual way. I could be misremembering.
I think you are.
Because I remember that's how they advertised it. Like, let me see if I can find it, though. I have to go on the YPG International website. Did they remove it? Is it no longer there? I remember the advertising was like that. Am I just tripping right now?
I think so. Look, I don't want to say anything. Oh god, I fucked this one up. I don't think I'm gonna make this.
They are quite pretty. They're not as pretty as Asian women though.
I have no comment on this matter. Oh, I made it. That's surprising.
It's weird. In like left-wing circles, I often get accused of being racist for having preferences for certain races, and I don't. It's always kind of weird to me because I don't have any preference against a race. Wouldn't singling people out be racism? Is it racist to praise people? I think that's kind of weird.
Racism doesn't exist. That's my official opinion.
We got some hot takes coming out here.
That was a joke. Racism does exist and it's bad. There we go. There's my opinion. Racism does exist and it's bad.
Yes. I think what was I gonna? I think the sort of I actually forgot what I was gonna say.
Alright, well, let me start talking about something then, instead. Actually, first let me go to the toilet, and then I'll go to talking about something to completely derail this conversation.
The cartoon scientist in the chat says, "Greetings, fellow incel." Greetings. Greetings from one incel to another. I haven't seen this lady comment in a while. I think I saw her like a few months ago. Oh boy. Well, now that Noah's gone to the bathroom, I'm gonna rant about something else. Have any of you guys ever thought about how like marketing is basically the way that the entire world runs? Where like, for example, if you're in a conversation with a coworker, right? Or not even a coworker, like you're going in to get hired for a job. You're going to try to present yourself, present all of the best parts of yourself, or present yourself in a really positive way. And it's almost like the sort of tailoring your speech to be able to perform well in that setting is a form of marketing. So like, say for instance, I'm kind of embarrassed when I go to the water cooler and my coworkers are there. Well, there's certain things I'm not going to say, like I'm not going to say I'm a furry or something like that when I'm at the water cooler. And the fact that like I withheld that information is almost like I'm trying to kind of build an image of myself in order to market myself to people in a deeper way, you know? And I'm beginning to see this pattern like everywhere. If you look at like a sales funnel, for instance, well, what does a sales funnel do? It's supposed to sort of get people in one by one, drop crumbs everywhere and have them follow the crumbs until eventually they've completely followed the way down the road you want them to go. Like you'll be able to see these concepts of being able to convince people of a certain thing, or being able to convince people of being in a certain place, and like it feels like the entire act of tailoring speech or just making yourself into a new person is a kind of marketing in a way. And when I started to notice this, like I noticed a pattern of all these different types of marketing just all throughout the world for everything, not just for selling stuff, but for marketing people, for marketing ideas. I mean, the entire act of being a pundit for a certain thought group or a certain group of ideas is just marketing those ideas to make them sound convincing. You wouldn't say the worst parts of your ideology off first thing, you would say the most convincing parts. You would talk about the parts that you think resonate with people. That's a form of marketing. And so I was thinking about this, and I was kind of noticing that like there's a marketing trend everywhere, no matter what. There's always going to be a way that people are drawn in, to the awareness phase, the interest phase, the evaluation phase, the decision phase, and ultimately the purchase phase. But in all of those phases, it's almost like you're hinting at someone as to which way to respond by coloring your language in such a way to interest them. And I might I might make a more coherent vlog kind of explaining that idea because I think it's very interesting. Um, and I think it's something that not a lot of people notice is that there really is a cycle of marketing in just about everything. Um, might be interesting. Might be interesting to do a video on. Yeah, how is everyone doing in the chat today? How are all of my fine folks doing on this fine actually what day is today? I actually don't know what it is. On this fine Sunday, on this fine Sunday evening. Oh Lord. I feel like I wanna get more Discord friends from viewers so that there's a lot of people who watch the streams who I wanna or not who watch the streams but just who watch the videos in general who I wanna add and speak to. The problem is that these days I rarely use Discord in the same way where like before I used to use it all the time and nowadays I've been using it a lot less just to focus on more important things, so I don't know. I really wish I could just get everybody on a different platform, but it is what it is. DZD says, I'm okay, still alive. That's good. That's always a positive thing. Um, make a server? I don't want to make a server because I don't like maintaining servers. Whenever I've had to maintain a server, there are always way too many people, and because there's just so many people, it makes it really difficult to keep up with everything in the server. And maybe I could have like a team of mods take care of everything, but I wouldn't know how to enforce the rules. I wouldn't know how to like organize people in the server, and being in the server itself would just take up so much of my time. Where like I remember when I made that Discord server after I hit 1,000 subscribers, there were so many people in there and so many messages being posted constantly that I ended up just being on that server all the time. Every day, all the time, all hours of the day, always checking the messages. And so I wasn't getting things done because of that. And so I'm very, very hesitant to the idea of reclaiming the old server or making a new one, because I feel like it would just inevitably end up in the same cycle that I ended up in before, where there were too many goddamn people and I just didn't have the patience for it. I have a lot more patience for speaking to people on an individual level. Oh, No's back.
Oh yeah, I'm back. Welcome back, me.
Yes.
I got noticed I'm gonna lose. Maybe.
Ooh, it's a story level.
I died. There's supposed to be a stealth
like...
mission, but if you go fast enough, you can you can just do it.
Yeah.
Also, they speak Russian. Also, the script in this level is fucking awful.
But yeah, like I always am a bit intrigued by how all of these American games always have the Russian or the British as the villains. Because on the one hand, the British are our allies, so why do they seem villainous? That's kind of weird. But at least I can kind of understand the Cold War politics of making Russians villains, even though I don't agree with it. We're like, but British people? Why are so many British people villains?
It's funny that you mentioned that, because in this level you play as the British, or as an American collaborating with the British against a Russian terrorist group.
Okay, that's a bit more realistic. But whenever you watch like the spy movies, or whenever you watch like weird military espionage stuff, a lot of the time they have a British character who's just often not and is too egotistical and wants to do something crazy. You know, like I've seen the pattern act itself out in so many cases. And
Alright.
I'm sure there's some film theory reason behind this, but I have no idea.
There is. Well, actually, the theory stems from, if you want to know why that is, it actually stems from homophobia, because the traditional floppy British accent is associated with gay people. and gay people are often villains.
That is true. That there is a surprising amount of gay villains, or like people who are feminine.
I don't know why my mouse is acting up. Like, when I do this, I can't move my mouse for some reason. It's
At
like...
least you're not using a trackpad. If you were using a trackpad, this would be unbearable.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, let me tell you about something. Let me tell you a little something about consciousness. I'm gonna make this into its own video or something at some point, but oh fuck, I fucked up. This is very hard to talk about consciousness while I'm trying to play through a Counter-Strike level.
Yeah, I'm honestly kind of surprised by how much you can talk while playing video games, because, like, for me, it took me a really long time to learn how to play a game.
Because, well, not a million times, but, like, a lot of times before, so...
Yeah, how do you do that? How do you play this same game over and over again?
It actually makes it way more fun. Playing it the first time, it's really boring, but once you've played it a million times and you know where the guys are gonna be, it becomes fun. Maybe I'm just a weirdo.
I mean, I have the same game, and
I know. You're basically the only person on my friends list who has the same game on Steam.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
I think there's one other person that has the same game.
I've played this game, you know, for a little bit, and I just thought it was kind of boring. Like,
It is boring. It is boring to play casually, but it's a good speed game because you, the thing that's weird about it is that enemies will just pop up from nowhere. But if you know where the enemies are going to be beforehand, then it's really easy. Well, it's not easy, but you can focus on doing it fast, which is what's fun. Like here, I know that this bit is technically an auto-scroller, because no matter how many enemies I kill, I have to wait until my AI teammates kill the last enemy before this door will open, so instead I'll just stand here where it's safe and wait for everything to pass over. Anyway, let me tell you about consciousness. So, I've thought for a long time that the future was all about uploading our consciousness to the wired or whatever, right? You've probably heard me talk about this many times.
Yes.
As many people have. I'm all about uploading my consciousness, or I was, until, actually not that recently, but I've just never mentioned it before. I've realized that I was actually operating under a false assumption. I was operating under the assumption that the human brain or the human consciousness was software running on hardware, which there is no evidence for, and actually there's evidence against. If you think about it,
there's been evidence of people's brains still functioning after they die for like 15 minutes, where like people, there was a German scientist who basically proved that you could still hear someone saying you died after you died, but it was only for a short amount of time.
This is true, but that's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at here is like this idea that you can upload your consciousness to the wired, you know.
Oh, the idea that you can just do it at all. Yeah, I don't think it's possible. I've never thought it was possible.
Why can't I get up this ramp? What the fuck? What's going on here? You should be able to get up here.
Yeah, believing in transhumanism is like a digi-tier belief. It's just not gonna happen.
But not that it like couldn't happen because of capitalism or technology or whatever, but because it's literally impossible. Because the human brain is not compatible with software. It's under this false assumption that consciousness is somehow the same thing as. Oh, I know why I can't go up this wall. It's because I'm being retarded.
Yeah, well, I've always been of the stance that it's literally impossible, because it just doesn't make sense. Like, logically, it does not make sense that you can simply upload the software to another piece of hardware. That's not how the brain works.
Exactly. It's not a piece of software running on hardware. It's I mean, there's many obvious differences. The biggest one being the human brain is a piece of software that can modify its hardware by simply thinking about it. For example, when you learn something, right, so you learn a new piece of information. It's not just a bit in RAM changing. Your brain is literally physically restructuring itself, right? There is a physical change which no computer can do currently. Why the fuck? What is going on here? What is happening here? I'm so confused. You should simply be able to hold a direction button and climb up this wall.
At least you're not on the trackpad life. At least that's not.
I'm gonna try restarting.
It would be even worse if that were the case. But yeah, like I was thinking about it because I feel like, you know, people kind of have this weird obsession with like the idea of becoming robots later. And I've had this argument with people so many times, telling them that it's just not gonna happen. And like they'll get actually angry. Like a lot of these like transhumanist guys get genuinely angry when you question their dogma. And I think it's because their entire life's purpose relies on it. Like, they want to feel safe by, you know, feeling like they can be in a computer to where they don't have to do a different type of change, you know?
Why is this not working? This has never happened to me before.
Paisano in the chat says, lol, haven't I seen you before? You're that guy with the anime Venezuelan flag who shows up in Hiding in My Room's live streams. I've seen you before. You're a mod there. C in the chat says based surf. I don't know what that means.
He's talking about me surfing this wall. But for some reason, look, finally someone who understands. So I should be able to just hold A right now, and if I'm facing in the right direction, like about here, I should just move up the wall. But I'm not moving up the wall, and I have no idea why. Maybe I'm playing on a newer version of the game and they patched this fucking bug out. But it's not a bug, but it's an out-of-bounds glitch. Which is incredibly annoying. I mean, come on. How am I supposed to speedrun this if I can't... Oh, something happened. Oh my god, this is so annoying. You know, I'm just gonna no-clip up there.
It's the Colombia flag, not the Venezuela flag. Okay, that makes sense. Build speed by surfing, then gradually move your crosshair while pressing A or D to shift your momentum.
You see, you'd think that would work, but that's what I've been trying to do, and it just doesn't seem to get me any higher.
He also said, I don't know how this game works specifically, so I'm probably wrong.
This game is it's just the Half-Life 1 engine.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was assuming as well.
Like, look, I just slide down. I think they've made this... because I actually had to reinstall this game because I accidentally deleted it. And I think this wall is steeper than it used to be. And they've changed it so you can't surf up it anymore. Like, look, this looks like it's got a curve. Maybe it doesn't, maybe I'm tripping, but... you used to be so easy. You literally just hold left or right and it would just go... You just smoothly go straight up. So I'm just going to no-clip up there because I'm retarded. And it won't.
I used to play this game as well as a bunch of other like weird Steam games that were made by Valve a lot when I was like kind of bored and depressed. And so what I would do is, I don't know what it is about these games. These games are like some of the best depression games because they're just one simple task that you can do while listening to podcasts, and that's like a perfect state of zen to be in while you're in a mood like that. And
this wasn't even made by Valve.
Well, I mean, you know who the people are. You know, the Source guys, all these guys. You know, the good boys, the classic boys, PC. And so like I find myself playing a lot of those types of games when I get into a state like that because I just want to listen to a podcast and play a game, you know. And TF2 is too. 0000Z in the chat says, "How's Japanese going?" Slowly but surely. I know about 330 kanji at the moment. I'm slowly but surely understanding sentences. To be honest, I've focused less on sentence building in comparison to learning kanji. So, but yeah, I've making progress.
That's impressive. I haven't ever learned a single kanji in my life, and I refuse to ever learn kanji as a protest to the way the Japanese language is structured.
How dare you? How dare? Honestly, I would have been able to get more done if I just worked harder at it. But yeah, kanji is cool, man. You're really
Kanji is
sleeping on.
gay. You're stupid. There's
No,
literally no
like
reason for kanji to exist. No other
I
modern
mean,
language has such a system except for Chinese, but at least Chinese doesn't have an alternative. Japanese has a alternative that objectively works better, and they just choose not to use it because of more tradition or whatever.
yeah, and I mean, I like the mysticism of the sort of tradition because I think as a structure, like the language as a structure is inherently interesting to me the more that I learn about it from a linguistic and from a cultural perspective. You know, you take the kanji character for tyrant, for instance. The character is both tyrant and dynasty, but it's also the character for North Korea. And so you can sort of see the Japanese mindset in the fact that that character is the very same character that's used for both tyrant and dynasty. You know, so like there's little things like that. There's little touches that make the language beautiful in how it's structured. They're just these little cultural tidbits that you learn more and more about as you learn. It's pretty cool.
It's pretty based that they have a good opinion of North Korea in that they don't like it because it's shit.
Uh, blue pilled and bad take.
Are you seriously going to argue that North Korea is a good place to live?
I have argued that North Korea is good many times.
I know
like
you
4
have,
hours.
but I can't tell whether you're memeing because your idea of a joke is just saying things that are wrong, and I can never tell.
I mean, like the more that I've learned about the economy of North Korea and debunking a lot of the more like imperialistic type of lies that come out of the media, the more it's like, okay, yeah, they have problems, but like I do think they're unironically better to live in than most countries, mostly just because like it, you know, I don't want to get too much into that at this point, but like, you know, it, it is an opinion that I hold, but I think like a lot of the problems that are in North Korea tend to just be as a result of sanctions and imperialism.
That's
Where
true.
like
I mean, I can agree with that, but that doesn't mean that then less problems.
well, I don't think the more authoritarian model that they've taken would have ever been, you know, I don't think it would have been rooted there without the necessity to protect the country in the first place. Or like you look in like 1997, for instance. I mean, even the CIA's own reporting that was leaked by WikiLeaks, it says they had to pay 25% of their GDP on military. I mean, that's ginormous. But like I think people kind of have a false perception of why Kim Jong Il and Kim Jong Un were elected to the positions that they were elected to. It was less so about the fact that they were descended from that leader, you know, from Kim Il Sung, and more to do with the fact that if you look at the time period, you saw all of these socialist countries were falling. You know, Czechoslovakia, East Germany, you know, Romania, Bulgaria, all of them ending, gone, gone, gone. And a lot of the reason why those countries fell was due to internal divisions undermining the core idea of democratic centralism. Democratic centralism, you all debate and then you have a vote, and the party must act in unity with that vote. There cannot be factionalism. But one of the things that the CIA and a lot of other Western countries did was that they tried to actively pull different sides of the communist parties in those countries away from each other to undermine unity. So, for instance, you know, these intelligence agencies would repeat the line that, you know, Gorbachev and the reformists, these are the good guys, and the hardliners are guys who want more like central planning, and those are the bad guys. And one of the biggest propaganda efforts that they tried to do to undermine these countries was to split these two sides apart. And in a lot of cases, they did that. And so when North Korea elected Kim Jong-il to the position he was elected to, what they were doing more so was saying, we are not going to be like these other countries. We are not going to, we're not going to end up, we're not going to end up having the party be undermined, the party's unity be undermined, and instead we're going to elect the son of the guy who came up with the whole Juche idea in the first place. They all had the same 12 government-mandated haircuts. That's actually a lie. There's a great documentary film called The Haircut, where these guys go to North Korea and they basically do a case of investigative journalism that literally proves that incorrect. I can link it in the chat if you want, but again, that's one of those things that's just literally made up by the media that is easily debunkable. Like, these guys are not socialists making this documentary. They're not like hardcore MLs or anything like that. They're just, people doing investigative journalism. So, yeah, let me send you the documentary in the chat because it's pretty eye-opening. And I mean, there's another channel that did a similar video, but this documentary is pretty good. But yeah, like, there's all of these, like, little weird things that are just so ingrained into our culture about North Korea, our understanding of the country, that on their face are factually wrong when you look at the evidence, but, like, so much of it just ends up stemming from, these articles built on false premises, or, you get defectors a lot of the time giving testimonies that contradict one another, and a lot of the defectors say more insane, negative things that oftentimes are literally impossible. A lot of those guys tend to be paid ginormous sums of money by media companies in the South Korean government. I mean, the South Korean government literally says that they do it. You look at, I need to find his name, but there was a South Korean author who wrote a book. He wrote a book about the North after having defected from the North to become a South Korean citizen, and he was paid a lot of money to do that. So at first he got a financial incentive, but then he wrote a sensationalized book about his experience in the North. And later on, he came to say that he regretted what he wrote in that book because it was dishonest. You get a lot of cases of North Korean people fleeing back to the North because they don't have access to the same social programs that they would have had at home. They don't have job security. They don't have universal housing the way that they would have had in the North. So, I mean, the more research you do, the more it kind of dispels a lot of these prevalent ideas. But the reason these ideas are prevalent is because the major media centers in this country are funded by people who have an active incentive to undermine North Korea as a state.
That was a nuke, by the way, that I just defused. Just want to make sure that's clear how awesome I am that I just defused a nuke.
Yes.
Sure, I save scummed, but listen, okay, that's as much of this game as I know. As you can tell, I got progressively worse as the game went on because I practiced the first level a million times because I was going for IL world record. So I'm just going to keep playing that.
Z wants to know what's No's opinion on North Korea. No is an anarchist, so he doesn't like any type of authoritarian states.
Yeah. My opinion on North Korea is that it's not as bad as it's... My opinion on North Korea is it's just a regular poor Southeast Asian country.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a fair opinion to have.
I think North Korea is essentially just it's just Duterte with Chinese characteristics. Prove me wrong.
Damn.
Okay, meth is legal there, so I just proved myself wrong.
Meth is legal there. Weed is legal there, but
meth and weed are both legal there. I actually have sources to back this up.
The whole meth thing. There are a lot of sources that debunk the whole meth thing. But like a lot of the people who say that meth is like prevalent over there, they tend to talk in just really astronomical numbers that like wouldn't be possible.
Oh yeah, I don't think it's like that crazy, but I don't think it's I know it's legal.
I mean I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't any law prohibiting it, just because it would be an offense that like wouldn't happen very often. Where like with weed, for instance, it's not legal, but it's not prohibited, and so there's small, very few cases of people smoking weed, but they do it, and it basically depends on which officer you get. Like, if someone is being a hard ass, they'll harass you about it. But if it's an officer that just doesn't care, then they're not going to bother you about it. It's over there. It's more about if it's bothering your work. Like if it's making you not show up to work properly or like not do your job properly, then basically social forces step in. Like it, I don't. From what I remember, there's not a law prohibiting it on the books, but it's not legal either. And with the way that the sanctions are, and the way that outside trade is, I feel like the occurrences of it showing up are pretty low, pretty rare.
It's actually pretty easy to make meth.
I mean,
Quote that. No, thank you. It's pretty easy to make. It's actually pretty easy to make meth.
What North Korean person is going to have the resources and the knowledge to do that, though? The internet is literally restricted over there.
Oh yeah, that's another reason why I don't like North Korea.
Yeah, you can only use North Korean websites. People have personal computers, some of them, but you have to save money for a really long time. And the internet infrastructure, it's sort of similar with Cuba, where Cuba wants to give everyone internet. It's just that the infrastructure is so expensive and they literally don't have it. And so oftentimes what they end up doing is you can basically go to these centers, you can go to these centers to use the internet for a certain amount of time. And you can go on Facebook and stuff and access Western news. Cuba wants to give everyone internet, unlike North Korea, where they only want you to have this very state-controlled, extremely state-controlled version of the internet.
Yeah, well, hold on. Everyone uses Linux in North Korea. That's a fact.
Oh yeah, no,
North Star OS. It's called like Red Star OS or something, right?
I know Cuba developed their own Linux distribution, literally their own one, not based off anything else.
I highly doubt it's not based on anything else. It's probably Debian. I'm gonna give you a 9 out of 10 chance that it's Debian.
I remember seeing it was basically the components of it were based off of other stuff. It was a very individualized thing. They tried everything they could to build it from the ground up, basically. But yeah, regardless, they made their own operating system to get around Windows because there was basically evidence that came out that Microsoft, which, I mean, we've always known this, but then there was hardcore evidence that came out that said Microsoft was colluding with the intelligence agencies to spy, to spy on Cuba through Windows computers and to other countries that we don't like and stuff. So they just made their own Linux over there. I know a lot of North Korean places still use Windows XP. Just because the sanctions are so heavy that so many of them still use Windows XP. I mean, the NHS still runs on Windows XP. That blows my mind.
Fun fact, you're actually wrong. I actually can prove you wrong about something about North Korea. You're wrong. North Korea doesn't use Windows XP. Red Star OS is just designed to look like Windows XP.
Let me look this up. Because I don't actually know about this. I actually don't know about this, but I
did a weird amount. One night I got bored and I did research about it because I wanted to install it on my ThinkPad. It looks like Windows XP. It looks identical to Windows XP.
Well, I've seen this before. It does look kind of similar to Windows XP. But no, they have I don't mean this copycat version. I mean they do have Windows XP over there sometimes.
Huh. Well, I guess that's not too surprising. Yeah, the NHS does run on Windows XP, which is bad. And if someone wanted to hack and ransomware the NHS, they could pretty easily do so.
Whoa! You can actually download Red Star OS?
Yeah, it's Linux, mate.
Wait, so does it? So it has modified Firefox, blah blah blah. So you can use this over here to go on the regular internet, or is it
Yeah,
still controlled?
I actually don't know. I know because North Korea only has an infonet. They don't have the internet. So, well,
Yeah.
except for in Pyongyang in the palace, they have the internet. Fun fact: Kim Jong. Well, we don't know if it's Kim Jong Un, but someone in Pyongyang has a Steam account. One person.
Hmm. Oh yeah, yeah, no, in with the state officials there isn't like extreme like the super extreme amounts of wealth disparity, but there is definitely wealth disparity there to where like they have machinery and they have just like big luxury items that normal people just don't have. That is just a fact, and I wish it would change. But yeah, there are certain things like that that are
Also,
kind of
if you want to be talking facts, let me give you another fact that you can't debunk. There is a pretty large grey market in North Korea who people who sell grey market cigarettes and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, no, I know about that.
Yeah. So, you could say that North Korea is state capitalist. One could say that. And one could be correct about that, but let's not go there.
Well, I wouldn't say they're state capitalist in the sense that like China is, where well a lot of the what North Korea does, where you look at someone like Aram Pan, the Singaporean guy who went to the North Korean trade fair and filmed the entire thing. One of the big parts of the North Korean economy are something called special economic zones. Now, when Mao instituted New Democracy, or shortly after he instituted New Democracy to sort of build a state capitalist economy before transitioning to socialism in China, they still had a lot of these special economic zones where they had things like private property and stuff like that to trade with other nations, to basically make it easier to get resources into the country. And so, one of the main things North Korea has had to do to survive, despite the fact that the majority of the economy is still centrally planned, one of the big things they've had to do is to open up these special economic zones. So I would say they're just barely socialist, like they're basically teetering on becoming state capitalist. And my prediction is that they're going to just take a Deng Xiaoping route, and then like foreign investors are going to come in and stuff. But like I feel like right now they're just like barely teetering on still being socialist.
I can
But I mean
basically
that's a
guarantee you they're gonna go the Deng Xiaoping route because China would like to trade with everyone that they can trade with, and North
yeah.
Korea and China are besties.
Yeah, and I mean that's one of the things that a lot of people don't know about is that in Eurasia right now, there is an economic boom in Eurasia happening right now, where if you look at Russia, for instance, there's more farming there because the government has just been heavily subsidizing Siberian farmers. You look
What's
at,
happening?
countries like Kazakhstan or Kyrgyzstan. China is building huge amounts of roads and railways that are connecting all of Eurasia together. There's an economic boom happening there right now. And then North Korea is just sitting there. Like, it's just sitting there, even though the economy actually has grown more than South Korea at certain times, the GDP is so small that, like, those foreign investors, they look at North Korea and they go, okay, there's a 100% literacy rate. All of the population is very educated. Many of them can speak multiple languages. We want to get a piece of that pie. We want to be able to be the people who, when North Korea has their Deng Xiaoping moment, our companies can be able to make money off of that. And so I think that's one of the big determining factors in North Korea as a geopolitical ally or just a geopolitical figure in general is that because the populace is so educated, and there's so many untapped resources that those foreign companies are just waiting to get a hold of. You look at the coal or the gold industry, or there's so many natural resources over there that like we just want to get them. And there's sort of a conflict in the capitalist class right now because you look at someone like George Soros, who is a major opponent to the North Korea talks that Trump is doing. Because he's more on the side of, the military-industrial complex. Because he knows we're going to make a fuck ton of money on selling weapons to South Korea, as long as the North continues being a quote-unquote threat. So he does not want North Korea to have a Deng Xiaoping moment. And so you look at figures like Soros heavily lobbying against these. But Trump, I think, is more on the side of a lot of these investors, a lot of these capitalists who just want to make money quick and don't really care about the geopolitical implications or the military-industrial complex. They just care about finance capital in its purest form. And so that's a really big conflict that's happening in the capitalist class right now. And you can see, you know, various people on the left and the right going head-to-head with one another over these talks because their capital may or may not be on the line depending on their industry. So I think it's a really fascinating case.
Yeah. See, in my opinion, North Korea is just a normal country. It's probably slightly... There's probably parts where it's slightly better than other countries in the area, and then similar economic situations. There's probably parts where it's slightly worse than other countries in similar economic situations, which is just the same as every other country. So that's my opinion.
Like,
and this also builds into my argument that communism is not significantly different from capitalism in its modern form.
Yeah, which I mean, we've had that argument before, and I mean, I can see why you feel that way, but you know, for me, I try as hard as I can to argue from an economic and sort of like, you know, sort of a historical base, but like, because you're an anarchist, like philosophically, you're an anarchist, so like, there's always going to be that divide there where like I'm going to be loyal to a certain idea or a certain side because like the things that I would be willing to take liberties for, where I would be like, okay, yeah, they can do these kind of bad things, it doesn't bother me that much, you would go and say, okay, that's bad, and absolutely not, you know? So like I feel like our specific values as to what constitutes a good society are sort of in different places on certain key issues, because I'm much more about like building up the productive forces and doing so through geopolitics, doing so through, you know, all of these like very centralized means of governing, and then a lot of that just comes down to the fact that I'm a fucking nerd when it comes to geopolitics and economics. So I can see where the core of the argument is. I don't think it's an unreasonable one at all. Oh boy, there's a bunch of messages in the chat I didn't pay attention to. Dr. Amanul says Korea is pretty cool. I think they have a pretty cool language. I want to learn it. C says, much of what I know about NK comes from my South Korean friends who are perpetually aware of the nation's interactions via news. But now that they live in the US, they shitpost and don't take it seriously. That makes sense. Kim Jong-un should post on B. I would fucking love if he posted on B. That would be great. Dr. OML says George Soros didn't do nothing. I'm gonna have to hard disagree with that, my friend.
I don't like George Soros because he's a capitalist. I don't care that he's Jewish. I knew he would say that. I knew that was coming.
Anyway, so moving on. Bake Monogatari, man, I have not been able to continue with this book. Maybe I'll pick it up another one of these days, but it is so incoherent for me that I just cannot sit down and read it. I would much rather play a video game than read a goddamn book. I take it back. Books are the worst medium. I take back every single positive thing I've said about books. If I could turn back time, I gotta go back, and reverse every single book I've read. They've turned me into a monster of analyzation and anti-postmodernism, even though I'm actually pretty pro-postmodernism, but actual structure is the best, and the show don't tell rule is the only way to write fiction.
Yeah, that's gonna be a no from me, bud. I have never read the Monogatari books, but I'm sure they're good because I've read other N0THANKY0U books.
Yeah, you're gonna have to give me a no thank you on that one. I mean, like, I'm sure if I kept reading the book, I would like it. It's just, it takes me so much patience to read this book because it's, like, incomprehensible for me. Like,
what's so incomprehensible about it?
I mean, the conversations have just become so irrelevant that they're hard to pay attention to.
It's great, isn't it? It's amazing. Well, okay, let's bear this in mind, that by reading it in English translation, you're losing out on a lot, like a fuck ton, because the books are famous for having a lot of kanji puns. That's like the entire point of the books. Like, why is Hitagi's like problems represent themselves as a crab? I don't fucking know because I don't speak Japanese, but it's some sort of pun with the kanji, and I don't understand it because I don't speak Japanese. But this is why I would recommend the anime over the books if you don't speak fluent Japanese and know a lot of kanji. Like, Nishio Osin's kanji use is too advanced for most Japanese people, let alone people who don't speak it natively.
Yeah, like that's the odd thing that I find, is because the books are extremely popular over there, but they use all of this obscure kanji that no one knows. Where, like, I mean, I want to be able to learn more like academic or like weird kanji, just because I think it's cool. Like, I enjoy doing it, so I'd be totally down to learning those things. But that's like 6-7 years, like, it's a long ways away. So I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it and I'm just going, yeah, I'm gonna pass on that for a while. Like, I feel like I would enjoy it a lot more if it were a Japanese book, because I would understand the cultural parameters around it.
I did it!
What the hell is a crab? Is he talking about crabs, like an STD? What's going on here? Is this like a sexual metaphor, like the other stuff in Monogatari? I don't know what's going on here. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand anything, actually. I actually lied about having a high IQ.
So what you're telling me right now is that Monogatari is literally too deep for you.
Yeah, no, I don't have a high enough IQ to understand Monogatari. No, someone asked me to do an IQ test on a live stream the other day, and that was the funniest shit. Like, there were a bunch of people who asked me to take an IQ test.
I'm bored of this game. I want to play some CSGO. Oh no, my fan will be too loud. Oh, this is gay. In a good way.
Play Half-Life Deathmatch soon.
How long have we been streaming for?
It says 1 hour and 22 minutes.
That's long enough.
There's a chat that I just got here that I want to read out before we go. Kanji Characters Guy says, dogs or cats? Personally, I like them both too much to choose one. I think they're both really cute. Coke or Pepsi? Pepsi all the way, especially Cherry Pepsi and Crystal Pepsi. Those two are both really fucking good. Israel or Palestine? Israel stole all of their land, and they should give it back to the people who it belongs to.
Okay, can you read those questions for me?
Yeah, dogs or cats?
As pets, dogs, but as animals, cats.
I think I would agree with that too, because as animals, cats are really cool aesthetically, whereas dogs are just affectionate and cool. Okay, Coke or Pepsi?
Neither. Why would you put disgusting sugar water into your body when you can just go to a tap and get water for free?
I mean, they're pretty good when you put lemon in them.
Yeah, but do you know how much fucking sugar is in that? Do you know how bad processed sugar is for you? And not in like a it'll make you die way, in a like it'll make you fat and your life will be uncomfortable until you die way.
I mean, I've drank a shit ton of soda my entire life.
Yeah, which is why you're retarded. I'm telling you, look up how bad processed sugar is for you. It's fucking. It fucks with your brain. It doesn't just fuck with you. It doesn't just make you fat. It fucks with your brain.
I mean, I don't know, man. When I was like 5 years old, I drank Dr. Pepper constantly all the time, and I turned out fine. So
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that either. Moving on, Israel or Palestine?
Obviously Palestine.
Thank you. Solidarity over here, my boy, my boy. It's one of those 90% of things we agree on. This is good.
Not because but I disagree with the reasoning, because you said Israel stole Palestinian land, whereas my description of property is anything that you can defend, and if Israel can defend their land, then it belongs to them. However,
New York, I met a Palestinian guy there because it was basically like a homeless shelter for like young LGBT people because I ran away from home, and so I went to this place so I could like have a place to stay. And then eventually they put me in a detention center to get sent back home. But like when I was there, like there was a Palestinian guy who I talked to, really interesting guy, very smart. But yeah, I think that's about it. This was really fun, man. Thanks for coming on to the stream.
I agree. Oh yeah, I'm in charge of this.
Yeah, you're the one who's supposed to end it.
Alright, well, thanks everyone on my channel, Infinite Star 2, or 1, or whatever fucking channel we're on.
This is on the main channel.
Okay, thanks for watching. This is now my channel. I have the streaming key, and I'm never letting go of it.
I mean, if you want to, I honestly don't care if you did your own streams here. I think that would be really funny.
I think everyone on your channel would hate me, because they all came for you, and I'm just too big-brained for your audience.
Yeah, your IQ collectively is just way too high for my audience to understand.
You ever heard of horseshoe theory? I prove horseshoe theory correct for IQ. I'm so smart that I'm dumb.
Yes, I've proven fishhook theory correct by existing. But yeah, and with that, I'll see you later, man. This was very fun.
See ya.